Hello, my name is Danny Nowlan and I'm the Director of ChassisSim Technologies. What I'd like to talk to you about today is ChassisSim Professional Online. What is ChassisSim Professional Online and why ChassisSim Professional Online? Well, let me ask you a few questions. Are you a race engineer on a small budget? Do you want a tool that's going to do the following? Prepare for a race event before you get there. Can reverse engineer track and tire properties. Has the ability to export data so you can compare to your actual data. Do you have an internet connection? And do you want to use simulation tools that are used by professionals in fields as diverse as F3, GP2, IndyCar, sports prototypes, and V8 supercars, to name a few? If that sounds like you, then ChassisSim Professional Online is the tool for you. And the beauty about ChassisSim Professional Online is it allows you to use race car simulation tools on a pay-by-the-simulation basis, which means it gives you the opportunity to use simulation when you need it. So that gives you the opportunity to reduce the cost of using simulation. Now, to show you the power that's resonant in ChassisSim Professional Online, I've shown you a correlation that's actually been achieved using ChassisSim Professional Online. Just to walk you through very briefly what that is, the top trace is speed, the second trace is throttle. The two traces below that are damper positions for the front and the rear. The trace below the damper positions is steering. The trace below the steering trace is lateral and longitudinal acceleration. And lastly, we have front and rear roll. That sort of correlation, ladies and gentlemen, is business as usual for ChassisSim. And this is what you're going to have at your fingertips with ChassisSim Professional Online. Now, before I discuss the various aspects of ChassisSim Professional Online and what it can do, what I'd like to do is just take a moment just to cover what makes ChassisSim unique and why you really should be considering ChassisSim Professional Online in the first place. First things first. All simulations in ChassisSim are transient. There are no pseudo-static calculations in ChassisSim Professional Online whatsoever. Indeed, all versions of ChassisSim feature fully transient calculations, and this gives you a much higher level of fidelity. The tire model in ChassisSim has been evolved to deal with racing conditions, and that model is thermomechanical. It has the ability to interact with data to reverse engineer track, tire, and aero parameters. It also has the ability to export data to data systems such as PyToolbox, Motec, Magneto Morelli, and many other data systems. And the other thing that I really want to ram home here is it's not just a lap time simulator. The power that is resonant in ChassisSim is it's a tool that also allows you to understand the race car. And what you're going to be getting access to in ChassisSim Professional Online is this is a proper simulation tool. We have not cut any corners in ChassisSim Professional Online so that you'll have all the tools at your disposal to come up with a model that is both very accurate and that will tell you an awful lot about your race car. First of all, let's walk through the ChassisSim environment. As you can see, when you start up ChassisSim, you've got a couple of different options of navigating through the environment. You can basically click on a component of the car, and the appropriate element of the car comes up for you to play with. But you've also got this tree structure here that you can use that outlines the things that you need to do in order to set up, run, and model your race car. And so consequently, what you've got is an environment that has been tailored for motorsport needs. Such things. Now, let's talk about what you're going to get access to using ChassisSim Professional Online. First things first, we're going to teach you how to create monster files. We're going to show you, and the monster file is that link between your data and the simulator, and it's a very, very powerful tool for allowing you to model your race car as well as construct your circuit models. Now, what a monster file is, it's simply taken from an ASCII export of data, and what it looks like is it's basically an ASCII tab or space delimited file that has a number of these columns. Now, when you get into ChassisSim Professional Online, we're going to outline what those various components looks like. The other things that you're going to have access to in ChassisSim Professional Online is we have tools that will allow you to get an initial cut of the vehicle model. You can run one-touch aero modeling to estimate what the aero of your car is going to look like. Also, too, you can run tire force estimation to estimate the tire model. Indeed, one of the tutorials on the ChassisSim YouTube channel is called Modeling in Minutes, where we show you how to use one-touch aero and tire force estimation to create a ballpark car model that you can start using in minutes. Albeit that is a very, very rough estimate, but the key thing in simulation is to get going. The other thing you're going to be able to do with ChassisSim Professional Online is you're going to be able to create circuit models. So you're going to be able to create a complete picture of what the circuit is doing. So you'll be able to create things like curvature file that tells you your trajectory around the circuit, the bump profile, which is your forward road surface displacements versus distance, your altitude road camber if needed, and your grip factor if needed. Now, all of this can be generated using ChassisSim, using the ChassisSim monster, using the monster file generated from your data. The other thing that you're going to be getting access to in ChassisSim Professional Online is that you're going to be getting access to the tire force modeling toolbox. This is an invaluable tool for learning how your race car works, because I have lost count of the number of times this has saved my neck. Now, in terms of support for ChassisSim Professional Online, you'll find that there's the ChassisSim YouTube channel that has over 45 video tutorials on how to drive ChassisSim and various aspects of vehicle dynamics. And this has been an absolutely invaluable tool in the ChassisSim community. And the beautiful thing about what we've put into ChassisSim Professional Online, which is the standard version of ChassisSim with the bump profile and tire force modeling toolbox, plus the YouTube channel, will get you a significant way down the road at a fraction of the cost. Clearly, it's not a replacement for ChassisSim Elite that has a number of extra features that have been thrown into it. But the great thing about ChassisSim Professional Online is it gives you an incredibly powerful tool that you can use to really understand your race car. And because you're paying for it on a pay-by-the-simulation basis, what's more, it allows you to bridge that. It allows you to bridge that gap when you don't have the budget. Now, what are the prerequisites for ChassisSim Online? First things first, I want to state from the get-go, ChassisSim Professional Online is not for everyone. First things first, this has been designed for race engineers who know how to use data logging tools, and I cannot stress that point highly enough. The other thing too I want to say, this is a professional tool and you must treat it as such. Furthermore, the other thing you're going to need is you're going to need good data, particularly accelerometers, steering sensors, and damper pots. And I cannot stress enough, make sure these sensors are calibrated. Your model is only going to be as good as the data you're going to be putting into it. And make no mistake, if you've got good data, you're going to get good results. If you've got bad data, you're not going to get good results. The other thing that I want to make clear, this is not designed for computer games such as iRacing and R-Factor. The reason it's not designed for computer games such as iRacing and R-Factor is a number of reasons. First of all, the data they give you is very limited. Sometimes it's usually limited at about 10 to 20 hertz export rates, and you have some computer games that, because of the fact they're biased towards graphics and artificial intelligence, have to sacrifice a little bit in the vehicle model. So consequently, because the vehicle model in ChassisSim is very, very highly accurate, what you'll find with some computer games is it'll tend to highlight, it'll exploit some of the inherent errors in some of those vehicle models. The other thing too that I want to say is you need a willingness to learn, and because this is on a pay-by-the-simulation basis, you need to have an internet connection to run ChassisSim Professional Online. So I want to be really well that you need to be very well aware of that. The last thing that I want to say is this is a tool. It is not a magic wand. If you are looking for a silver bullet, something that you could just plug in a few numbers and all of a sudden you're going to go 50 seconds a lap quicker, this is not the tool for you. This is a tool that requires this is a tool that that really requires you to get on top of your race car, to get on top of your data, and to really think about what you're doing. But I presume if you've gotten this far, then you've got to be interested in what you're doing. That being said, though, if you're looking for a magic wand, I hate to say it, ChassisSim Professional Online is not for you. But I should also add that if you can tick all the dots of what we have just discussed, then you are going to then ChassisSim Professional Online is going to be a very powerful tool. To sum up, if you want to run the what ifs before you get to the racetrack, if you want to be able to reverse engineer track and tire properties, then ChassisSim Professional Online is the tool for you. There's generous support material on how to use it, in particular on the ChassisSim YouTube channel. And if you get stuck, you can always email support@chassissim.com. I should add, though, all support inquiries for ChassisSim Professional Online is to be directed to support@chassissim.com. But I can assure you, if you work through the ChassisSim system, you work through the quick start guides, the results are going to take care of themselves. And that, my friends, is a guarantee. But look, don't take my word for it. Go to the ChassisSim website, go to this link, chassissim.com, online simulation, or you can Google ChassisSim and click on the online simulation tab and find out for yourself why ChassisSim Professional Online is the winner's edge.